Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You've been pushed. You've been shoved. They tried to break you down, tried to tear you apart, trying to crush your spirit. Nah, don't you dare sit there like a victim. You're not some fragile thing. You're not some delicate glass statue waiting for someone to knock you down. You're a force. And today, we're going to remind you exactly what you're made of. Here's the truth: fools try to break you. But guess what? They only broke themselves in the process. You're still standing. They're not. The joke's on them. And now, you're the punchline. They didn't see it coming, did they? The whispers, the backstabbing, the games they played to get under your skin. Oh, they thought they could win, thought they could break you down. But the thing is, you weren't built for defeat. They didn't know who they were messing with. They underestimated you. And when they made that fatal mistake, they set the stage for their own downfall. They tried everything, didn't they? The passive-aggressive remarks, the side glances, the gossip behind your back. They thought they could chip away at your confidence, break down your self-esteem, make you question everything you knew about yourself. They wanted you to fold, to shrink, to give in to their negativity. They wanted you to believe you weren't strong enough. But here's the thing they didn't understand: the first rule of this game. They didn't know your spirit. They didn't know your heart. They didn't know your willpower. You weren't their target. No, you were their challenge. You were the mountain they thought they could climb. But every time they reached for the summit, they slipped. Why? Because you were the one standing on top of it, built strong by every battle, every trial, and every setback that they never saw coming. And let's talk about those battles. You've been through your share, haven't you? You've faced hardships that would make the average person break, but not you. No, you took every hit, every setback, and you didn't crumble. You didn't fold. You stood back up. Every single time. And that's why they failed. They thought they could break you because they didn't know what you've already survived. They didn't know that you weren't some fragile thing that could be shattered easily. You're the type that gets stronger when people try to break you. You're the type who learns from every insult, from every cruel word. They don't realize it, but every jab they took at you, it didn't hurt you. It only made you sharper. It only made you grow. You were the one who learned, adapted, and evolved. While they were busy trying to tear you down, you were busy building yourself up. So when they tried to break you down, they were only building a version of you that was unshakable. They were unwittingly turning you into something stronger than they could ever be. It's crazy, isn't it? They thought they had the power to manipulate, to control, to break you. They believed that if they attacked you enough, if they pushed you hard enough, they could get you to give up. But they didn't know that your strength wasn't about resisting them. Your strength wasn't about trying to change their minds. Your strength was in refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing you bend. Your strength was in showing them that no matter what they did, you weren't going anywhere. You see, they were so focused on breaking you that they couldn't see the bigger picture. They couldn't see that every attack they threw your way was just adding fuel to your fire. They couldn't see that they were only making you stronger with each attempt. They didn't realize that they were the ones losing. They thought they could win the game by wearing you down. But all they did was build you up in ways they never expected. They thought they were clever, playing the victim, the manipulator, the deceiver. But you weren't fooled. You didn't play into their hands. Now you saw them for what they were scared. Scared that you were stronger than they could ever be. Scared that you would rise while they remained stagnant in their own misery. They tried to break you, but they broke themselves in the process. They were so obsessed with taking you down that they didn't realize they were digging their own graves. They revealed their true selves, their fears, their insecurities, their desperation. They thought they could break you, but the only thing they managed to break was their own facade. And that's what really stings, doesn't it? They thought they were so slick, so smart, so cunning. But in the end, all their schemes fell apart. And they were exposed for who they really are. And you didn't even have to do a thing. You didn't have to stoop to their level. You didn't have to play the game they were trying to get you into. You just had to keep being you. Keep being the force that you are. Keep being the person they couldn't break. And every time they tried, they only showed themselves to be weak. The more they pushed, the more they revealed how little control they had over their own lives. You didn't need to fight back. Nah, you let them fight against their own demons. You stood your ground. And that was more than enough. Think about it. Every time they tried to tear you down, you rose higher. Every cruel word, every insult, every shady move just made you stronger. You know it's true. You've seen it in your own life. You've felt it. Every time someone tried to break you, you found a new piece of strength you didn't even know you had. You weren't just surviving, you were thriving. You weren't just staying afloat, you were learning to sail your ship even in the roughest of seas. And while they sank deeper into their own negativity, you kept moving forward with your head held high. They didn't realize that they were doing you a favor. The more they tried to break you, the more they helped you find your power. The more they attacked, the more you grew. They thought they were pushing you down, but all they were doing was giving you the leverage to rise higher. You didn't crumble. You didn't fall. And that's why you're still standing. And they're the ones left behind. They're the ones lost in their own mess. But that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? They thought they could break you. They thought they could defeat you. They thought they could destroy you. But all they did was build you up. They showed you who they were. And in doing so, they showed you just how much stronger you are. They gave you the fuel to rise above, the strength to push forward, and the clarity to see that they were never in control. You've always been the one who held the power. They just never knew it. And here's the ultimate truth: they couldn't break you, no matter how hard they tried. They didn't know that the more they came for you, the more they were simply building the person you were meant to become. And now that person is unbreakable. You've proven that they can't bring you down. You've shown the world that no matter how many times you get knocked down, you'll always rise again. Stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. So let them keep coming. Let them keep playing their games, because in the end, you'll be the one laughing. You'll be the one standing tall. And they'll still be lost in their own mess. You didn't just survive, you thrived, you grew. And now you're unshakable. The joke's on them. They broke themselves trying to break you. The games they played, they thought were clever. But you've been through storms. You've faced battles. You've been knocked down so many times you've lost count. And every single time, you've come back stronger. So when they tried to break you, all they really did was show their true colors. They tried to rip you apart, but you were never theirs to break. You were never anyone's to control. You were meant for greatness. And they were only there to push you to something better, push you to something stronger, push you to rise above. Every time they tried to break you, you grew. They didn't realize that their attacks were just building you up. They thought they could crush your spirit, but all they were doing was shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. With every insult, every setback, every attempt to tear you down, they were only making you more powerful. They couldn't see it, but you were becoming something they would never be. You were becoming unbreakable. And here's the thing. Every time they laughed at you, every time they mocked you, it wasn't about you at all. It was about their fear. They were scared of what you could become. They were scared of your strength, your potential, your drive. It wasn't you they were after. It was the reflection of themselves they saw in you. Because the truth is, people like that can't stand to see someone rise while they stay stuck. They can't stand to see someone keep going while they remain stagnant, locked in their own negativity. And that's what it all boils down to: fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of being left behind. Fear of realizing that they too could have had it all, but chose not to. They see your light, and it terrifies them. You were never their enemy. You were never the reason for their misery. Their misery is something they created themselves. And when they tried to tear you down, it wasn't about you. It was about their own brokenness. It was about their inability to handle the truth of their own lives. So they came after you because it was easier to try to destroy someone else than face the wreckage they had built for themselves. But here's the real truth: you are not their mess to clean up. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them your time or your energy. You are not responsible for their bitterness, their jealousy, their insecurity. You're not the one who tried to break them. Nah. They broke themselves long before they ever set their sights on you. And they'll keep breaking piece by piece until they realize the truth that their need to break others only destroyed them in the end. You can't let them steal your joy. You can't let them dim your light. Yeah, maybe it hurts in the moment. Maybe it stings when you realize just how far they were willing to go to tear you down. But in the grand scheme of things, that's their issue. That's their burden. You're not the one who tried to break them. They are. And the fact that they tried to break you says everything about them and nothing about you. They broke themselves trying to break you. Their lies, they were just like broken glass, shattered, useless, and scattered all over the floor. And the funny part, you didn't even need to clean it up. They did it for you. They exposed themselves. They showed their true selves. And in doing so, they left you untouched. They didn't break you. They broke themselves. They exposed their weaknesses, their insecurities, their desperation. And while they thought they were winning, they were only digging their own grave. But here's where things get interesting. You didn't just survive. No, you didn't just sit there and wait for it to blow over. You thrived. You turned that pain into power. You turned those attacks into fuel. Every insult, every cruel word, every attempt to break you only made you stronger. You became like steel. You became unstoppable. They didn't break you. They only made you grow. The harder they hit, the stronger you became. And let's be real about this, when they come at you, it's never about you. It's always about them. Their own fears, their own insecurities. They couldn't stand to see you shine. So they tried to dim your light. They couldn't bear the thought of you being stronger, smarter, more capable. So they tried to make you doubt yourself, try to twist your mind, try to play mind games. But you didn't fall for it. No, you didn't. You saw through their act. You saw the weakness beneath their facade. You saw them for what they really were: scared, insecure, and desperate. Now, I know it's tough. I know you felt the weight of their words. I know you felt the sting of betrayal. But that's not your burden to carry. You're not the one who needs to feel guilty. You're not the one who needs to apologize. The ones who tried to break you are the ones who should be ashamed. They're the ones who need to look in the mirror and face the truth. And when they do, they'll realize that they were never really in control. Yeah, they played the game. They did their best to tear you down. But they didn't realize something. They didn't realize that they were playing in a game that they could never win. Because the truth is, they can't break you. They never could. They tried to take you down, but they didn't have the strength to do it. You've got something they don't. Resilience. You've got the power to rise above. They didn't know that when they started. They didn't know that when they made their move. And that's where the power lies. Not in the struggle. Not in the pain. But in what you do with it. You can either let their negativity drag you down, or you can use it as fuel to climb higher. You can either let them win, or you can show them just how wrong they were to think they could break you. And I know what you're going to do. You're going to rise. You're going to show them that they never stood a chance. There's a saying that goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But you know what? I don't even think it's that simple. What doesn't kill you doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you unstoppable. It makes you a force to be reckoned with. It makes you something they can never take down. Because here's the thing, they don't know your story. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know the battles you fought. All they see is a surface, a reflection of their own hate. And that's the mistake they make. They don't know you. So let them think they won. Let them think they got the last word. Because in the end, you'll be the one standing tall. You'll be the one with the last laugh. They'll be the ones choking on their own bitterness, trying to figure out how they lost. And the beauty of it is they'll never even realize it was never about them. It was always about you. You didn't just survive. You thrived, you grew. You became everything they couldn't handle. They'll look back one day and they'll realize the truth, that they didn't break you. They broke themselves. And it wasn't your fault. It was never about you. It was always about their own need to control, to manipulate, to tear others down and make themselves feel better. And when they're left in the dust, trying to pick up the pieces of their own broken lives, you'll be moving on. You'll be climbing higher. You'll be reaching places they can never go. And all because they tried to break you and failed. And that's the truth. That's the power. That's the victory. So next time they come at you, next time they try to break you, just smile. Because the joke's on them. You're already stronger than they'll ever be. And they'll never see it coming. Now let's talk about the aftermath. The dust will settle. The words they threw, the lies they spread, they'll fade. But you're still here, stronger, wiser, more resilient. You built yourself up from the wreckage they tried to create. They thought they could leave you in ruins, but all they left behind was a blueprint for your rise. See, they underestimated you. They thought that when they knocked you down, you'd stay down. They thought you'd crumble. They thought they'd win. But let me remind you, you're not that easy to break. You're not some fragile piece of porcelain. You're not someone who crumbles under pressure. You're the kind of person who's forged in fire. The kind who rises from the ashes like a phoenix. They didn't know who they were dealing with. And while they were focused on trying to break you, they missed the fact that they were only feeding your growth. Every word they spoke against you, every trick they pulled, was only adding fuel to the fire inside you. And you've been burning ever since. And that fire, it's not going out. Nah, it's only growing hotter. It's only getting brighter. And don't think they won't notice. Oh, they will. They'll see you thriving, moving on with your life, smiling, even when they expected you to cry. They'll see you standing taller than ever before, taking up space in this world they tried to shrink you out of. And when they see that, that's when they'll start to realize the truth. They'll realize they didn't break you. They built you. But here's the catch, they won't admit it. Oh no, they'll never come to you and say, you know what? You've gotten stronger because of me. You've gotten better because I tried to tear you down. Nah. They'll keep lying to themselves. They'll keep telling themselves that you were never worth their time, that you were never strong enough to make it. But the truth is right in front of them. Here's the truth: you are a reflection of their fear, their insecurity, and their own brokenness. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep rising, they'll be the ones trapped in the past. You're evolving. You're changing. You're becoming someone they can't even recognize anymore. You're not that person they thought they could break. You've outgrown their hatred. You've outgrown their jealousy. You've outgrown them. What they don't realize is that their attacks didn't come from a place of strength. Nah, their attacks came from fear. Fear of what you could become. Fear of what you could achieve. And their greatest mistake? Trying to break you. Trying to keep you down. They should have known better. They should have known that when you're faced with pressure, you don't crack. You don't crumble. You don't fall. Nah, you shine. You rise. And now they're left with nothing but their own bitterness. They're left with the same broken mindset that led them to attack you in the first place. You've got something they'll never have: peace. You've got the kind of peace that comes from knowing you are unshakable. You've got the peace that comes from knowing that no matter how hard they tried to break you, they failed. You've got the kind of peace that only comes from realizing that no one else holds the power to determine your worth but you. The joke is on them, my friend. Because while they were busy trying to tear you down, you were quietly becoming someone they could never be. They didn't see it coming. They didn't realize the power they were giving you with every hateful word, every negative action. And now they can't undo it. They can't take back the damage they've done. And they can't stop you from becoming the person you were always meant to be. But here's the thing: you don't need them to acknowledge your strength. You don't need them to see your growth. They don't get to decide what you're worth. That's on you. You've already proven everything you need to prove, not to them, but to yourself. You've survived, you've thrived. And most importantly, you've grown. You are a testament to your own power, your own resilience. You may not get an apology. You may never hear them say, "I'm sorry I tried to break you," and that's fine. Because you don't need it. You don't need them to see the truth because you know it. And deep down they know it too. They know they failed. They know they couldn't break you. And they'll have to live with that knowledge for the rest of their lives. As for you, you'll keep rising. You'll keep moving forward. You'll keep building the life you want, the life you deserve. Because no one can stop you now. They may have tried to break you, but all they've done is push you toward greatness. They tried to keep you small, but instead they've opened the doors to your vast potential. They thought they could tear you down, but all they've done is make you invincible. So the next time they show their face, remember this: they didn't break you. They made you stronger. And while they're stuck in their negativity, trying to pull you down, you'll be soaring higher. You'll be achieving everything they could never dream of. And when they look up at you from the ground they're stuck on, they'll finally understand the truth. They didn't break you. They built you. They didn't destroy you. They empowered you. And they'll never, ever be able to take that away from you. So let's wrap this up with some clarity, yeah? You've been through the worst of it. You felt the sting of betrayal, the weight of their lies, the harshness of their attempts to break you. But let's be clear about something: they never had the power they thought they did. Every time they tried to break you, all they did was build you up. Every insult, every mockery, every attempt to tear you apart was just another layer of fuel for your fire. You didn't crumble. You didn't fall apart. You rose. And now, look at you. Look at who you've become. Look at how far you've come. You've transformed. You've turned the pain into power. You've turned every setback into a comeback. Every time they knocked you down, you didn't just get back up. Nah. You got back up stronger. And that's something they'll never understand. They wanted to see you weak. They wanted to see you broken. They wanted to watch you crumble under the weight of their cruelty. But instead, they got a lesson. They got a lesson. They got a front row seat to a spectacle they'll never forget. Because you, my friend, became everything they could never be. You became unstoppable. You became unbreakable. You became a force that they couldn't touch, couldn't control, couldn't even begin to understand. Now, this is important. Don't you ever let them make you think otherwise. Don't you ever let their lies, their schemes, their attempts to control you make you doubt your worth. They tried to break you because they were terrified of your power. They saw what you were capable of, and it scared them. They couldn't handle it. So instead of rising with you, they tried to drag you down. They tried to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your own strength. But guess what? They failed. And in the end, all they did was show the world how weak they really were. Here's the kicker, though: while they were plotting and scheming, thinking they could break you, they didn't realize that they were already breaking themselves. They were already falling apart. They were already falling apart, already drowning in their own insecurities, their own fears, and their own misery. They didn't have to do anything to you, because in the end, they were the ones who needed fixing. And you were always whole. You were always strong. You were always destined for greatness. They couldn't see that. They couldn't comprehend the power inside you. But now, they see it. They see the strength in your eyes, the fire in your soul, the power in your every move. They see the person they tried to break and failed miserably. They broke themselves trying to break you. Remember that. They shattered their own illusions of control, their own sense of superiority, their own fragile egos. And when they try to make a comeback, when they try to move on and pretend like nothing ever happened, don't you dare let them forget. Let them see how far you've come. Let them see what they couldn't destroy. You are a living testament to the fact that nothing can break a strong spirit. And that's not just some feel-good line. That's a fact. They can't break you. They can't tear you down. Because you've got something they'll never have: resilience. You've got the strength that comes from knowing who you are, from knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. You've been through worse, and you've come out on top. And now, you've got a whole new perspective. Every battle you fought, every scar you carry has given you wisdom. Every person who tried to break you has given you more power. So when they look at you, they don't see someone they can control anymore. They see someone they'll never understand. And that's their biggest regret. Because they should have never messed with you.